Hello and welcome. It is time to relax and prepare for sleep. Let yourself lie down comfortably and breathe slowly. Tonight, we will journey to ancient Egypt. We will walk slowly along the Nile, through quiet villages and bustling cities, noticing the small details of daily life. Let the soft rhythm of history guide you into calm and rest. The sun has set over the Nile, and the water glows faintly under the last light. The gentle flow of the river carries small sounds. Water lapping softly against reeds, birds settling in the palms, and distant voices fading into the evening. The air is warm, carrying soft scents of baked bread, sweet dates, and dried herbs. Even the stones of small houses seem to absorb the calm of the evening, holding the quiet warmth of the day. Everything is slow, deliberate, and peaceful. Section 1: Daily Life Along the Nile. The Nile is at the heart of life in Egypt. Villages line its banks, houses made of mud bricks, with flat roofs and small courtyards. Farmers tend fields of wheat, barley, and flax, the fertile soil renewed by the gentle flooding each year. Irrigation channels guide the water slowly, carrying life to every field. The river is calm, wide, and slow, reflecting the warm colors of early evening. Small boats drift gently on the Nile. Fishermen cast nets, pulling them in slowly, carefully separating fish. The soft sound of water against wood is steady and comforting. Women gather reeds near the shore, tying them into bundles for mats, baskets, or thatched roofs. Children play quietly along the riverbanks, skipping stones or watching small birds dip into the water. Inside homes, families finish evening tasks. Bread is baked in clay ovens, the smell soft and warm. Clay pots hold water and grains. Small bowls contain dates, figs, or olives. Women sweep floors slowly, smoothing sand or straw mats. Men repair simple tools or adjust fishing nets. Every movement deliberate and calm. The social structure is gentle, yet organized. Farmers, craftsmen, and merchants have specific roles, and even in small villages is quiet cooperation. Children learn by watching and helping, slowly gaining skills they will need as adults. Everyone moves with purpose, yet everything is calm and unhurried. The streets of small towns are narrow and quiet. Small marketplaces are emptying, the sounds of haggling fading into the evening. Clay and woven goods, jewelry, pottery, and food are arranged carefully, awaiting the next day. Lanterns or torches glow softly, casting long, gentle shadows on mud brick walls. Even the animals, donkeys and small goats, move slowly, blending into the calm of the night. Religion is present even in these small daily moments. Household shrines contain small statues of gods or painted symbols. Offerings of food or incense are placed gently, with care and respect. People move slowly and deliberately, honoring the divine with quiet, calm gestures. Even the smallest act, like pouring water on a shrine, is done in rhythm with the gentle pace of life. Along the Nile, the scent of papyrus is strong. Bundles of reeds dry slowly in the sun during the day, releasing a mild, sweet aroma. Papyrus sheets, soft and smooth, are prepared for writing by scribes. Scribes move slowly, their brushes dipped in ink, writing in careful, precise hieroglyphs. Every word, every sign, every motion is measured and deliberate, blending with the calm environment. Farm animals are tended quietly. Cows, goats, and geese rest in small pens or wander slowly in the courtyard. Chickens peck at the ground with soft, rhythmic motions. Dogs follow silently beside their owners, alert but calm. Every animal contributes to the gentle rhythm of daily life, moving slowly with purpose and care. Craftsmen work with patience and precision. Potters spin wheels slowly, shaping clay into smooth forms. Weavers move threads deliberately, creating long, colorful strips of cloth. Metal workers hammer softly, shaping copper or bronze tools, their motions steady and measured. All work contributes to the rhythm of the village, slow, calm, and harmonious. Evenings along the Nile are filled with small, comforting sounds. Water flows softly in the channels and river. Birds settle in palm trees, rustling leaves in the gentle breeze. Frogs croak faintly from the riverbanks, adding a rhythmic, soothing background. The village settles into quiet, each house breathing slowly, each family readying for rest. Meals are simple, nourishing, and calm. Bread, beer, and vegetables are shared, eaten slowly, quietly, and without rush. Children drink water or soft, mild milk, tasting new foods with gentle curiosity. Families sit together, sharing warmth and conversation in soft, low tones. Every bite, every sip, every movement is calm, deliberate, peaceful. By night, the village glows softly in torchlight. Shadows stretch gently over courtyards and narrow streets. The river mirrors the faint light, calm and steady. The scents of the day linger: bread, herbs, and the cool, gentle fragrance of the Nile. Every sense is immersed in calm, quiet, measured rhythm. Sleep comes slowly. Children curl beneath simple mats, blankets tucked softly. Parents rest near the hearth, quietly watching, adjusting, and finishing small chores. Even animals settle close by, breathing evenly, part of the slow, gentle rhythm of the household. The Nile continues to flow softly, its water carrying life and calm to the entire village. The night stretches on, full of soft, soothing sounds. Water, wind, animals, and the quiet breathing of sleeping people merge into one continuous, gentle pulse. The village, the river, and the people all participate in this measured rhythm. And as you imagine walking slowly along the Nile, noticing every small detail, let yourself drift into calm and restful sleep. Section 2. Homes, Family Life, Clothing and Food. Homes in ancient Egypt are simple, but practical. Most houses are made of mud bricks, with flat roofs and small courtyards. Rooms are cool in the daytime, warmed slightly by the sun in the evenings. Inside, clay floors are smooth, and mats or woven reed rugs soften the space. The air carries gentle scents of baked bread, cooking oil, and drying herbs. Everything is calm, measured, and soft. Courtyards are the heart of family life. Children play quietly on woven mats or among small pots. Dogs rest in shaded corners, tails flicking slowly. Women sweep the courtyards, arranging baskets of dates, figs, or small vegetables. Men repair simple tools, sharpen blades, or adjust fishing nets with careful, steady hands. Every movement is deliberate, part of the rhythm of life. Egyptian clothing is light, comfortable, and suitable for the warm climate. Men wear linen kilts, soft and breathable, tied simply at the waist. Women wear long, loose dresses, sometimes decorated with small beads or pleats. Children often go without clothing, moving freely and quietly in the courtyard or along riverbanks. Soft sandals protect feet from hot sand, while bare feet feel the gentle coolness of the river or shaded ground. Every fabric is smooth, soft, and calming, blending with the gentle pace of the day. Families eat together in calm, quiet moments. Bread, made from emmer wheat, is soft and filling. Vegetables such as onions, garlic, lentils, and beans provide steady nourishment. Fish from the Nile is baked or grilled slowly, its aroma blending with fresh herbs and mild oils. Small cups of beer, made from barley or water from the river, are shared gently. Every meal is deliberate, slow, and peaceful, part of the natural rhythm of the household. Children learn through observation and gentle guidance. Girls watch their mothers weave, prepare meals, or care for younger siblings. Boys help their fathers with farming, fishing, or small tasks around the house. Skills are passed down softly, without rush, in the quiet, steady flow of daily life. Even the smallest chores, mending cloth, washing pots, sweeping floors, are part of a calm and continuous rhythm. Cooking is a slow, soothing process. Clay ovens glow softly, baking bread over gentle embers. Pots of beans or lentils bubble quietly, filling the air with soft, comforting smells. Herbs are crushed gently, releasing mild fragrances. Every motion, kneading, stirring, placing food on trays, is careful, calm, and measured. The kitchen becomes a place of warmth and gentle rhythm, where small tasks unfold slowly. Evenings are filled with quiet family activities. Parents tell soft stories, passing down tales of gods, kings, and the river. Children listen, eyes half closed, absorbing the gentle cadence of language. The Nile glows softly in the distance, reflecting the warm colors of the setting sun. Small lamps or torches illuminate rooms, casting long, calming shadows on walls. The family rests together, part of the natural, gentle rhythm of nightfall. Storage rooms are simple, filled with grains, dried fish, and small jars of oil or honey. Baskets of dates and figs rest on shelves, their sweet aroma calm and soothing. Clay jars contain water, barley, or small amounts of wine. Everything is arranged carefully, deliberately, ready for use in the quiet days ahead. The order and simplicity of the home adds to the steady, calm atmosphere. Clothing is cared for slowly and carefully. Linen is washed, dried in the sun, and folded neatly. Soft, breathable fabrics are brushed gently to keep them smooth. Jewelry, small beads, rings, or bracelets, is polished slowly, creating a quiet sparkle in the soft light. Even the act of dressing is calm, deliberate, and peaceful. At night, the family gathers near the hearth. The warm glow fills the room, soft shadows moving slowly across walls and floors. Children curl beneath mats or blankets, resting quietly. Parents sit nearby, finishing small tasks or simply watching the quiet rhythm of their home. The sounds of the river, faint animals, and gentle wind through reeds create a soft, steady background. Outside, the Nile continues its gentle flow. Papyrus reeds rustle softly in the night breeze. Birds settle in palms or along the riverbank, their movements measured and calm. Frogs croak quietly from the edges of water, a rhythmic, soothing sound. Even distant voices of travelers or merchants fade softly into the background. Night in an Egyptian village is peaceful and steady. Stone and mud brick walls absorb the calm of the day. Lanterns glow faintly, casting warm light on quiet streets and courtyards. Animals rest, children sleep, and adults move slowly through final tasks. The scent of baked bread, dried herbs, and cool river air blends into a soothing atmosphere. And as the family drifts to sleep, the Nile continues to flow quietly, carrying gentle life, soft sounds, and calm energy through the village. Everything is slow, deliberate, measured, and peaceful. Even the smallest sound, a footstep, a rustle, or a soft sigh, adds to the gentle rhythm. And now, as you imagine this calm life along the Nile, let yourself drift slowly, gently, peacefully into sleep. Section 3. Temples, Daily Religious Practices, and Quiet Rituals. The temples of ancient Egypt rise quietly along the Nile, their stone walls smooth and warm in the soft light of morning. Columns are carved with gentle hieroglyphs, telling stories of gods, kings, and people. Even the carvings seem calm, deliberate, and timeless, as if holding the rhythm of life itself. The air carries the subtle scent of incense, the papyrus, and the worn stone of the temple walls. Everything here moves slowly, deliberately, and peacefully. Priests begin their daily routines quietly. They sweep the temple floors, arrange offerings, and light small lamps. Their movements are steady and deliberate, measured with care. The soft glow of oil lamps flickers gently against carved stone, casting long, peaceful shadows. Even the smallest gesture, pouring water, placing a loaf of bread, or adjusting a small statue, is done slowly and calmly. Offerings are simple, meaningful, and deliberate. Bread, beer, fruits, and small flowers are placed before statues of gods. Each item is handled carefully, with respect and gentle attention. Even the faint sound of a clay jar being set on a stone altar blends into the quiet rhythm of the temple. The priests move with the awareness that every action contributes to harmony, both spiritual and worldly. Scribes sit in quiet corners, recording events or copying texts. Their brushes move gently, dipped in black or red ink, tracing each hieroglyph with patience. Every sign is deliberate, every line measured, as if keeping the calm of the day alive on paper. The faint scratching of reed pens across papyrus adds a soft, steady sound to the gentle hush of the temple. It is a place where history, ritual, and quiet coexist in perfect rhythm. Small rituals happen throughout the day: the offering of water, the lighting of incense, or the recitation of soft prayers are done slowly and carefully. Even the movement of hands, the gentle bowing of the head, or the placement of an object is performed with measured calm. Visitors or worshippers move quietly, their steps soft on stone floors. The temple is a sanctuary of peace, a place where every sound and motion blends into the steady rhythm of devotion. Outside the temple, the city moves slowly. Marketplaces are beginning to stir, but everything is measured and calm. Donkeys and oxen pull small carts gently along streets. Women carry baskets of fresh vegetables, fruits, or fish, moving with deliberate care. Even the soft clatter of a clay pot or the shuffle of sandals is gentle, adding to the measured pace of life. Religious festivals are quiet in this gentle narration. Chants and rhythmic drumming may fill the temple courtyards, but the tone is calm, not hurried. Priests and worshippers move slowly, performing rites with deliberate care. Offerings of bread, beer, flowers, and incense are placed on altars with steady hands. Even the movement of processions is measured, every step deliberate, blending with the natural rhythm of life along the Nile. Daily life in smaller shrines is equally calm. Households have small statues or painted images of gods such as Hathor, Ra, or Osiris. Offerings are placed in quiet, measured motions: water, bread, small bowls of fruit or incense. Children observe these routines, learning slowly and peacefully. Every action, though small, contributes to the rhythm of family, village, and spiritual life. The Nile continues its gentle flow beside temples and homes. Its water moves slowly, carrying life, sound, and calm through villages and cities. Frogs croak softly near riverbanks. Birds settle quietly in palms, and fish swim calmly beneath the surface. Even distant voices, merchants, craftsmen, or travelers, blend into the soft, steady rhythm of the day. The sound of water, wind, and gentle movement creates a peaceful, continuous background for daily rituals. Priests retire to quiet rooms in the temple, resting after the slow, deliberate morning rituals. Soft mats are spread, blankets tucked gently, lamps dimmed. The warm stone absorbs the calm, radiating steady comfort. Even animals in the temple courtyards, cats, dogs, and birds, rest quietly, part of the same rhythm. The temple itself seems to breathe slowly, carrying its calm energy through every stone, shadow, and sound. By midday, the sun rises high, warming stone, mud brick, and river gently. Priests pause for water or bread, eating slowly, quietly, without rush. The air carries mild scents of herbs, incense, and baked bread from homes nearby. Even the heat moves softly, spreading gradually and comfortably across streets, courtyards, and riverbanks. Everything is slow, measured, and calm, part of the steady pulse of ancient Egyptian life. Evening rituals are gentle and soothing. Fires burn softly in hearts. Incense wafts into the calm air, and offerings are placed one last time. The temple glows faintly in torchlight, long shadows stretching over carved stone. Every motion, every gesture, every small sound adds to the rhythm of night. The city outside grows quiet, streets emptying, animals settling, and the Nile flowing slowly and softly. And as the sun sets behind distant palms and a Nile glows gently in twilight, the temple rests in calm, quiet, and measured rhythm. Priests and worshippers have completed their tasks. The city, the river, and the people all breathe slowly, steadily, and peacefully. Everything is calm, deliberate, and gentle, ready to carry life softly into the night. Section 4. Craftsmen, Artisans, and Quiet Workshops along the Nile. The sun rises gently over the Nile, warming the small workshops along the river. Craftsmen begin their day slowly, each movement deliberate and calm. Stone and mud brick walls absorb the morning warmth, carrying it softly through the quiet spaces. Every tool, every material, and every motion blends into a gentle rhythm. The air smells faintly of clay, stone, wood, and herbs, mingling with the subtle river breeze. Potters work near the riverbanks, soft water nearby for shaping clay. They mold soft, wet clay on slowly turning wheels, forming bowls, jars, and small vessels. Each movement is steady, measured, and precise. The soft sound of clay rubbing against hands is rhythmic and soothing. Finished pots rest quietly, drying in the sun, ready for use in homes and temples. Weavers sit under the shade of small shelters. Threads spread across simple looms. Linen threads, spun from flax grown along the Nile, are woven slowly into soft cloth. Patterns emerge gradually, a gentle dance of colors and textures. The rhythmic motion of hands moving threads over and under creates a steady, calming sound. Even the small rustle of finished cloth, rolled and stacked carefully, adds to the peaceful atmosphere. Metal workers work with copper and bronze, the soft glow of early sunlight reflecting on their tools. They shape knives, small tools, and jewelry with careful, precise movements. The faint tap of hammer on metal is steady, rhythmic, and never hurried. Workers pause to adjust, to inspect, to polish, everything done deliberately and slowly. Even the smallest detail, a curve on a knife, the shape of a bracelet, receives careful attention. Scribes sit quietly near workshops, recording details of trade and craft. Their brushes dip into black or red ink, writing hieroglyphs with gentle precision. They document the number of goods, materials used, and finished pieces, maintaining order in the calm, measured rhythm of life. The faint scratching of reed pens across papyrus blends softly with other gentle workshop sounds. Everything contributes to a slow, continuous pulse of the village, harmonious and steady. Carpenters work with soft, steady motions. Wood from nearby trees is cut, sanded, and shaped carefully. Small pieces are joined with gentle taps, creating furniture, boxes, or frames for homes and temples. The faint scent of wood mixes with clay, herbs, and river air, adding warmth and comfort to the space. Even the smallest sound, the scrape of a chisel or the soft tap of a mallet, is calm and rhythmic. Jewelry makers sit quietly, creating delicate pieces from gold, silver, and semi-precious stones. Beads are strung slowly. Small tools move carefully, and every piece is inspected with deliberate care. Soft metal glimmers in the morning light, catching the eye gently but never harshly. Even the motion of threading, polishing, or shaping is part of the quiet, peaceful rhythm of the village. These small, intricate movements add beauty to the day, calm and soothing to those who work and those who watch. The sound of animals moves gently through workshops. Donkeys carry materials slowly along the streets. Cats curl in corners, their soft purrs blending with the rhythmic work of hands. Dogs lie nearby, resting quietly while their owners move slowly and deliberately. Even the faint rustle of reeds or straw underfoot becomes part of the measured pulse of the workshop. Children often observe artisans, learning quietly and gently. Girls watch mothers weave or prepare small items. Boys watch fathers cut, shape, or mold materials. Skills are absorbed slowly, naturally, without rush. Even small chores, fetching water, carrying reeds, or arranging tools, teach patience and careful attention. Every movement contributes to the calm, steady rhythm of life along the Nile. Some craftsmen pause to admire their work. A potter runs fingers over a smooth surface. A weaver examines the pattern of a finished cloth. A metalworker inspects the curve of a small tool. These pauses are quiet, reflective, and slow, part of the measured pace of the day. By midday, the workshops are warm with sun and movement. Tools rest briefly, materials are arranged neatly, and craftsmen drink water slowly to refresh themselves. The soft scents of clay, linen, wood, and metal fill the air. Even distant sounds, children playing, water flowing, birds calling, blend seamlessly into the gentle rhythm of work. Nothing is hurried, everything deliberate, measured, and calm. The Nile flows gently beside the workshops, carrying life and peace to every home and workspace. The faint ripple of water, the soft rustle of reeds, and the quiet movements of boats add to the continuous, steady background. Even small details, the shimmer of a polished pot, the smoothness of woven linen, the soft clink of metal, enhance the gentle, soothing environment. The village seems to breathe in time with its craftsmen, artisans, and river, all moving slowly and carefully together. As the afternoon winds toward evening, the pace slows further. Tools are cleaned, materials stored, and finished goods arranged neatly for use or trade. Workshops become quiet. Shadows lengthen across stone and mud brick walls. The faint sound of water, animals, and the distant village blend into a calm, continuous rhythm. Even the sun's light softens, bathing the village in warm, gentle tones. And as evening settles, craftsmen pause completely. Hands rest, mats or stools provide gentle support, and the village slows toward night. The river continues to flow quietly, carrying calm, steady energy through workshops, homes, and fields. Everything moves together in soft, deliberate rhythm. And now, as you imagine the gentle work along the Nile, let yourself drift slowly, peacefully, and comfortably into sleep. Section 5. Markets, Trade, and Quiet Streets. The streets of ancient Egyptian towns are narrow and calm. In the early morning, merchants begin arranging their stalls with care. Clay pots, woven baskets, colorful cloths, and small trinkets are displayed slowly and deliberately. Even the faint rustle of fabrics, the soft placement of goods, and the gentle clink of pottery blend into a steady, soothing rhythm. Everything moves slowly, measured, and peaceful. Fresh produce is carefully arranged. Bundles of onions, garlic, lentils, and beans sit alongside bunches of grapes, figs, and dates. Fish from the Nile rests gently on woven mats, the cool air keeping it fresh. Bread loaves, baked from emmer wheat, are stacked neatly, their warm, comforting aroma drifting softly. Every item is displayed with attention, each gesture deliberate and calm. Merchants prepare small goods for trade. Jewelry made of gold, silver, and beads is polished slowly. Clay figurines and amulets are set carefully on mats. Even the smallest coin, used to pay for bread or oil, is placed gently into a simple pouch. All movements are precise and quiet, contributing to the steady rhythm of the market. Animals add life to the streets in a calm manner. Donkeys carry goods slowly through narrow lanes, their hooves soft on sand and stone. Goats wander quietly near courtyards, nibbling gently at small bundles of reeds. Cats move silently among stalls, occasionally stretching or purring softly. Even birds settle in palm trees, wings folded, their faint calls merging with the quiet background. Buyers arrive slowly, moving from stall to stall. Women select vegetables carefully, feeling each one gently. Men examine tools, cloth or pottery, moving hands softly over surfaces. Children follow quietly, holding small baskets or picking up items with curiosity and care. All exchanges are gentle, deliberate, and peaceful, part of the measured rhythm of the day. The Nile is always present, flowing softly beside the streets. Small boats drift slowly, carrying goods from nearby villages. Merchants unload clay pots, baskets of produce, or bundles of papyrus with careful, steady movements. Even the soft lapping of water against hulls adds to the calm, immersive atmosphere. The river provides a gentle pulse, a steady companion to the slow rhythm of trade. Small shrines near the market are attended quietly. Offerings of bread, beer, and flowers are placed with care. Merchants and buyers may pause to give a soft nod or whisper a prayer. Even these small gestures are done slowly and deliberately, blending with the measured pace of daily life. The rhythm of work and devotion is continuous, calm, and peaceful. Craftsmen often work near the market. Potters shape clay, weavers adjust threads, and metalworkers polish tools. Their soft, steady notions add to the gentle hum of activity. Even the faint scratching of tools on surfaces or the gentle thud of a mallet is rhythmic and comforting. All sounds contribute to a continuous, slow pulse that fills the streets. Children wander quietly through the market, observing and learning. Girls watch mothers select produce or exchange coins with calm hands. Boys notice craftsmen shaping clay, weaving cloth, or carving wood. Small chores, carrying light baskets, folding cloth, or arranging goods, teach patience and careful attention. Every detail contributes to the slow, deliberate rhythm of life. The sun climbs higher, warming clay walls, cobblestones, and reed mats. Shadows move slowly, stretching along streets and over market stalls. Soft scents of herbs, bread, fish, and sweet fruits fill the air. Even the gentle breeze, rustling leaves and carrying the faint smell of the Nile, blends seamlessly into the calm of the streets. Everything is slow, steady, and peaceful. As the morning progresses, the market begins to quiet. Buyers move away slowly, merchants tidy stalls, and animals settle. The rhythm of the day continues, measured and calm. Even the faint sound of footsteps fading down narrow streets adds to the gentle atmosphere. The city breathes slowly, every movement deliberate, every sound part of the continuous, soothing pulse. By midday, the streets are calm and quiet. Stalls are neat, animals rest, and distant voices are faint. The river flows gently, carrying water and life through every village and town. Even the soft clatter of pottery, rustle of cloth, or distant bird call is rhythmic and comforting. Everything is deliberate, slow, and peaceful, a steady heartbeat in the quiet streets of ancient Egypt. And as the sun begins to dip lower in the sky, the market rests fully, the streets calm and measured. Merchants pause, families return home, and the Nile continues its gentle flow. Every small motion, every soft sound, every subtle scent contributes to the tranquil rhythm of life. And now, as you imagine walking slowly through these quiet streets, let yourself drift gently, comfortably, and peacefully into sleep. Section 6. Farming life along the Nile, irrigation, and seasonal routines. The Nile is the lifeblood of Egypt, flowing slowly, steadily, and peacefully. Its waters nourish fields, villages, and families alike. Farmers rise early, moving with calm and deliberate motions, ready to care for the land. The air is soft and warm, carrying gentle scents of wet soil, grasses, and ripening crops. Everything moves slowly, measured, and harmonious. Fields stretch along the riverbanks, green and fertile. Wheat, barley, and flax grow in neat rows, their leaves rustling softly in the light breeze. Farmers check each plant carefully, removing weeds or adjusting small irrigation channels. The sound of water trickling through canals is rhythmic and soothing, blending with the soft rustle of crops. Precise rhythm tied to the cycles of the Nile. Canals carry water slowly to every field, guided by dikes and small channels built carefully over generations. Farmers open sluices gently, letting water flow gradually, nourishing roots and softening the soil. The gentle splash of water, the soft gurgle of canals, and the quiet movements of farmers all blend into a steady, peaceful rhythm. Life along the river depends on this slow, careful work. Seasonal routines structure every year in Egypt. After the Nile's floodwaters recede, the soil is rich and soft, ready for planting. Farmers move slowly, scattering seeds for wheat and barley, covering them gently with fine soil. Irrigation ensures steady growth, and farmers watch patiently as small shoots emerge, bending softly in the warm sunlight. Every step of planting is careful, deliberate, and calm. Harvest time is measured and peaceful, though there is gentle activity in the fields. Workers cut crops with simple sickles, moving rhythmically and quietly. Bundles of wheat or barley are tied slowly, carried gently to drying areas and stored for future use. Even the faint rustle of straw, the soft clink of tools, or the occasional low voice blends into a soothing, steady background. Harvest is productive but calm, part of the natural flow of life along the Nile. Flax is grown for linen, a soft and essential fabric. Farmers tend long green stalks, watching over them carefully. When it is ready, they pull it gently from the soil, leaving roots intact to prevent erosion. The fibers are redded in calm pools of water, a process that takes time and patience. Every motion, every step, is deliberate, soft, and peaceful. Animals help in farming, moving slowly and steadily. Oxen pull carts or plows, their steps measured, hooves soft against the soil. Donkeys carry small loads of crops or water gently across the fields. Goats and ducks wander quietly, adding subtle sounds to the calm rhythm of farm life. Even birds hover or rest nearby, watching the slow, steady work of humans and animals alike. Children help in small ways, learning slowly and carefully. They carry baskets of seeds, sweep pathways, or fetch water for irrigation. Every small task is part of learning patience, observation, and gentle coordination. Even play becomes quiet and measured, safe within the rhythm of family and farm life. The village breathes in harmony with the fields, each movement steady and deliberate. The river itself moves gently, reflecting the changing sky. Papyrus reeds sway softly along the banks, and waterfowl move slowly across the surface. The faint sound of water flowing, birds calling, and leaves rustling blends into the background of daily labor. Even when work pauses for rest, the river maintains its steady pulse, calm and continuous. Meals on the farm are simple, slow, and nourishing. Bread baked from emmer wheat, soft and warm, fills small hands and bowls. Beans, lentils, and vegetables provide steady, mild flavors. Fish from the river, or small meat offerings, are eaten quietly, with soft conversation or gentle laughter. Everything is calm, measured, and comforting, sustaining both body and mind. As evening approaches, farmers pause their work slowly. Tools are cleaned and stored, fields are left orderly, and animals are guided to pens or shaded areas. The sun sets softly, casting long, warm shadows across the land. The Nile glows gently in the fading light, reflecting the calm, steady pace of daily life. Evening is a time for reflection, rest, and quiet preparation for the next day. And as the night settles, the village grows quiet. Animals rest, children sleep, and farmers settle near hearths or mats. The river continues its gentle, unbroken flow. Every small motion, every soft sound, every subtle scent contributes to the steady, soothing rhythm of life along the Nile. As you imagine this calm and measured world, let yourself drift slowly, gently, and peacefully into sleep. Section 7. Trade, boats, and gentle river travel. The Nile is not only water for farming. It is also the great road of Egypt, carrying boats slowly north and south. Every day, vessels drift with the current, or glide gently under sails, moving goods, people, and stories. The river is calm, wide, and steady, reflecting the sun during the day and the stars at night. Life along the river flows as softly as the water itself. Boats are made carefully from wood, rope, and papyrus reeds. Small boats serve farmers and fishermen, moving close to the banks. Larger vessels carry traders, priests, and officials, their sails rising quietly above the water. The soft creak of ropes, the rustle of sails, and the steady dip of oars add rhythm to the journey. Every sound is calm, blending into the gentle pulse of the Nile. Trade is essential, yet it unfolds in a measured, peaceful manner. Goods are carried slowly by boat from village to village. Wheat, barley, and vegetables are loaded carefully into baskets. Jars of beer and wine are tied securely, their contents ready for markets or temples. Even precious items like jewelry, carved wood, or linen move quietly along the river's surface. Foreign goods arrive gently from distant lands. Incense, oils, and fine woods come from the south. Copper and tin arrive slowly from deserts and mountains. Occasionally, treasures like lapis lazuli or ivory are placed with care in baskets and jars. Every item is rare and precious, carried calmly and deliberately. At markets along the river, trade continues with the same quiet rhythm. Boats dock gently, goods are unloaded slowly, and stalls are arranged carefully. Farmers exchange wheat for tools, fishermen for baskets, weavers for food. Merchants record each trade with reed pens, writing carefully on papyrus. Even the voices of buyers and sellers remain soft, calm, and measured. Travelers rest on boats, shaded by simple cloths stretched across poles. The air is warm, carrying scents of reeds, water, and fish. Fishermen drop nets slowly into the river, waiting patiently for their catch. Children sit near the edge, dangling feet over the water, watching ripples spread outward. Every movement is small, deliberate, and calm. Pilots guide boats with skill, watching the flow of the river. Their eyes follow the movement of water, the sway of reeds, the flight of birds. Sometimes, they use long poles to push vessels gently forward. Other times, the wind fills sails, carrying boats silently across the current. The journey is never hurried, always steady and measured. The river itself is full of quiet life. Crocodiles bask in the sun, still and watchful on sandy banks. Hippopotamuses move slowly in the water, their heavy bodies calm and steady. Birds wade in the shallows, dipping beaks gently for fish. All creatures share the river, each one part of its peaceful rhythm. Temples rise along the banks, visible to travelers as they pass. Tall pylons and painted walls reflect sunlight, glowing softly across the water. Priests stand quietly near entrances, offering prayers and incense. Sailors and merchants bow gently as they drift by, showing respect without words. The river connects sacred places as much as markets and homes. At night, boats anchor near the banks. Fires glow softly on the shore, casting reflections on the water. Fishermen mend nets by quiet light. Traders rest among baskets of goods. Families settle on mats. The air is cooler, carrying faint sounds of insects, birds, and rippling water. The Nile is calm, its surface glimmering under the moon. Journeys may last days or even weeks, but always move at the same calm pace. No one rushes, for the river sets its own rhythm. Travelers learn patience, watching water flow endlessly, guiding them north to the sea or south toward Nubia. The Nile is constant, timeless, eternal. Every journey is part of its gentle, unbroken flow. And as you imagine sitting on a boat, drifting slowly along the water, you feel the calm of the Nile flowing within you. The steady rhythm of oars, the soft creak of wood, the warm air around you, all are peaceful. The journey continues endlessly, soothing and calm. And now, as you drift with the river, you may allow yourself to drift into sleep as well. Section 8. Temples, Priests, and Quiet Rituals. The temples of Egypt stand tall and calm along the Nile. Their stone walls are massive, carved with images of gods and kings. Painted reliefs show scenes of offerings, processions, and prayers. The pylons rise like mountains, steady and unmoving in the warm air. Even from a distance, the temple seems quiet, peaceful, and eternal. Inside the temple, the air is cooler and still. Columns stand in rows, carved with lotus and papyrus designs. Their surfaces are covered in hieroglyphs, each symbol drawn with care. The faint scent of incense drifts through the air, soft and sweet. Every step echoes gently, as if the stone itself breathes slowly. Priests begin their day early, before the sun is fully risen. They bathe in sacred pools, cleansing themselves in silence. Pure linen garments are placed carefully over their bodies, smooth and light. Sandals are tied softly. Amulets are worn close to the skin. Every action is slow, deliberate, and respectful. Daily rituals honor the gods who dwell in the temple. Priests enter the sanctuary, the innermost chamber, with calm and measured steps. They open doors of wood and gold, revealing a statue of the deity. The figure rests quietly, small yet powerful, cared for like a living being. Offerings of bread, beer, incense, and flowers are placed gently before it. The rituals follow a precise rhythm, unchanged for centuries. Priests wash the statue, anoint it with oils, and dress it in fine cloth. Jewelry is placed around its neck and arms, shining softly in the dim light. Incense burns in bronze bowls, the smoke rising slowly in graceful curls. Soft chants fill the air, steady and hypnotic, blending with the silence. Outside the sanctuary, larger courtyards welcome visitors. Ordinary people come with offerings of food, beer, or small figurines. They ask for health, safe journeys, or protection for family. Priests listen quietly, sometimes writing petitions on small pieces of papyrus. The atmosphere is calm, respectful, and gentle. Sacred animals are cared for near temples. Cats, ibises, and sometimes crocodiles are fed with care. They are considered forms of gods, honored and protected. Their quiet movements add to the sense of calm and reverence. Even their breathing, their slow steps, seem part of the temple rhythm. Festivals bring more activity, yet even then the pace remains steady. Priests carry statues of gods in small shrines, lifted carefully on poles. Crowds gather in silence, watching the slow processions pass by. Musicians play soft flutes and drums, the sounds blending gently with chanting. It is a calm celebration, full of respect and measured movements. Temples also serve as schools and centers of knowledge. Scribes copy texts, recording prayers, medical knowledge, and stories of the gods. They sit in shaded rooms, their reed pens moving slowly over papyrus. Each sign is drawn with care, each word placed deliberately. The quiet scratching of pen on papyrus becomes part of the temple's calm music. Granaries and storehouses stand beside temple walls. Farmers bring offerings of grain, oil, and honey. Priests record everything, ensuring supplies for rituals, workers, and the poor. The temple breathes with the rhythm of giving and receiving. Even this work is steady, organized, and peaceful. At sunset, rituals are performed again. Priests close the sanctuary doors, covering the statue of the god with cloth. Incense burns once more, the smoke curling softly into the night air. The temple grows silent, shadows stretching across its stone walls. The gods are at rest, and so too are the priests. The people of Egypt trust in these quiet rituals. They know the gods are honored each day, cared for with devotion. The steady rhythm of temple life mirrors the steady flow of the Nile. It is calm, eternal, unbroken. And as the stars shine above, the temples stand quietly, guardians of peace. And as you imagine these slow, sacred rituals, the cool stone, the soft incense, the calm chants, let yourself feel the stillness of the temple within you. Like the gods at rest, like the Nile at night, you too may rest. Slowly, gently, peacefully, allow yourself to drift toward sleep. Section 9. Egyptian homes, families, and daily comforts. Away from the temples and palaces, ordinary life in Egypt flowed with quiet rhythm. Most families lived in simple houses made of mud brick. These bricks were shaped from Nile mud mixed with straw, then dried in the sun. Walls were thick, keeping the heat away during the day and the cool inside at night. Flat roofs provided extra space where people could sleep under the stars or dry food. Inside, the rooms were plain and practical. Floors were sometimes covered with mats woven from reeds. Small niches in the walls held clay lamps that flickered softly in the evenings. Furniture was simple: low stools, wooden chests, woven baskets. Beds were often made of wooden frames with netting stretched across them. On top, mats or cushions offered a place to rest. The kitchen was often outside or in a small courtyard. Clay ovens baked bread, the most important food of all. Grain was ground each day on heavy stone grinders, a slow, steady task. Women sang or hummed as they worked, their voices rising gently with the rhythm of stone against stone. The scent of baking bread drifted softly through the air, mixing with the earthy smell of clay. Meals were simple but nourishing. Bread, beer, onions, and garlic formed the staples. Lentils, chickpeas, and vegetables from the garden added variety. Dates and figs provided sweetness, along with honey when it was available. Fish came fresh from the Nile, while meat was rarer, reserved for special days. Even a modest meal, eaten slowly in the shade, gave comfort and strength. Families gathered together at these meals. Parents and children sat close, sharing food from common bowls. The day's work was spoken of softly, in the rhythm of calm voices. Children listened, sometimes asking small questions, sometimes only smiling. Stories of gods, heroes, or family ancestors flowed gently like the Nile. Clothing, too, was simple and cool. Most people wore garments made of linen, woven from flax plants. The cloth was light, soft, and perfect for the warm climate. Men often wore short kilts, women long, flowing dresses. Children sometimes ran freely without clothing, laughing in the sunlight. Jewelry added small touches of beauty, simple beads, amulets, or bracelets. Each piece was worn not only for decoration, but often for protection. Life followed the seasons of the Nile. In flood season, families stayed close to their homes, repairing walls and roofs. In growing season, men and women worked in the fields, tending crops and animals. Children often helped by carrying water, gathering reeds, or feeding goats and ducks. Evenings were times of rest, when the land cooled and the stars began to glow. Domestic animals lived close to the family. Cats kept away mice and snakes, moving softly in the shadows. Dogs guarded homes and fields, loyal and watchful. Geese and ducks filled courtyards with gentle noises, their wings flapping quietly. The sounds of these animals became part of the music of daily life, calm and familiar. Education began at home. Parents taught children by example, showing them the skills of farming, weaving, or cooking. Some boys, if chosen, learned to read and write at temple or palace schools. They practiced for hours, drawing signs on broken pieces of pottery or flat limestone. Scribes were respected, for they carried the gift of writing, a skill few possessed. But most children learned practical tasks: how to care for animals, how to grind grain, how to fetch water from the Nile. Festivals brought joy and a break from daily routine. Families painted their faces with ochre, wore their best linen, and shared food with neighbors. Children played games with small clay toys, spinning tops, or knucklebones. Laughter filled the air, gentle and bright, balancing the seriousness of work. Even the simplest celebrations reminded people of the beauty of life. In the evenings, homes grew quiet again. Oil lamps were lit, their flames small but steady. The glow touched the mud brick walls with soft, golden light. Fathers told stories of gods like Osiris, Isis, or Horus, while children listened with sleepy eyes. Mothers hummed lullabies, gentle songs passed down for generations. Outside, the croak of frogs and the hum of insects blended with the night air. Sleep came slowly, like the Nile flowing at dusk. Families rested close together, feeling safe within their walls. Above them, the sky stretched wide, filled with endless stars. Each star, they believed, might be a spirit or a god watching over them. The world outside was vast, but within the home there was calm, comfort, and belonging. And as you imagine these ancient homes, the flicker of lamplight, the flicker of prayers, and the flashing of golden light, the sheer faces of gods and prophets. Each star, they believed, might be a spirit or a god watching over them. The world outside was vast, but within the home there was calm, comfort, and belonging. And as you imagine these ancient homes, the flicker of lamplight was soft golden light. The smell of gods lingering watching with endless stars. Each star, they believed, might be a spirit or a god watching over them. The world outside was vast, but within the home there was calm, comfort, and belonging. And as you imagine these ancient homes, the flicker of lamplight, spinning tops, the quiet laughter of children, the warmth of shared bread, you too may feel the same peace, a sense of safety, of calm, of steady rhythm. Like then, you may close your eyes, rest your body, and drift softly into sleep. Section 10. Art, Music, and the Beauty of Egyptian Creativity. In ancient Egypt, art was everywhere. It was painted on walls, carved into stone, woven into cloth. Art was not only for beauty, but for meaning. Every picture, every carving, every symbol carried a purpose. It told a story, honored a god, or kept a memory alive. Tombs were covered in colorful images. Scenes showed farmers plowing, families eating, fishermen casting nets. Gods stood tall and serene, their forms calm and balanced. Figures were painted with clear outlines, steady and careful. The colors, deep red, yellow, blue, green, black, were soft but lasting. Egyptian artists used natural paints. They crushed minerals and plants into fine powders. Red came from ochre, blue from ground copper, green from malachite. These powders were mixed with water or egg to create smooth paint. Applied to plastered walls, the colors stayed bright for thousands of years. Carving stone was another great skill. Temples, statues, and monuments were shaped with patient hands. Stone was hard and tools were simple, but work was steady. Sculptors used copper chisels, wooden mallets, and sandstone polishers. Each detail was made slowly, with balance and care. Statues were not always large. Some were small, meant for homes or tombs. They showed gods, animals, or family members. A statue of a husband and wife might sit together, side by side, holding hands. Even in stillness, there was warmth and closeness in their faces. Jewelry was a form of art, too. Necklaces of beads, bracelets, rings, and amulets filled the lives of Egyptians. Some pieces were made from gold, bright and shining. Others from faience, a glazed ceramic, glowing blue or green. Every piece was worn with meaning, often to bring luck or protection. Music was also part of daily life. Musicians played harps, flutes, and lutes. Drums, rattles, and clappers added rhythm. Songs were soft during feasts, gentle during prayers, lively during festivals. The sound of music filled temples, homes, and open markets. Dancers moved gracefully with the music. Their steps were slow and flowing, their arms curved like the river. Some dances honored gods, others brought joy at celebrations. Children clapped and laughed, following the rhythm. Even simple movements became part of the beauty of life. Writing itself was an art form. Hieroglyphs were carved or painted with care, each symbol balanced and elegant. A bird, a reed, an eye, a wave, all small pictures carrying meaning. Lines of writing decorated tombs, temple walls, and papyrus scrolls. To the Egyptians, writing was not only practical, it was sacred. Art also honored the afterlife. Paintings in tombs were made to provide comfort for the soul. Scenes showed food, gardens, music, and family gatherings. The belief was simple. The soul would enjoy in the afterlife what was painted in the tomb. Art was a bridge between the living world and the eternal world beyond. Even ordinary objects showed beauty. Pottery was shaped smoothly, painted with lines or patterns. Baskets were woven tightly, their patterns repeating softly. Cloth was dyed and folded with care. Beauty was part of life, not separate from it. Art and music brought balance to the Egyptian world. They softened the weight of work and the heat of the sun. They gave joy during feasts, comfort during mourning, and meaning to rituals. They reminded people that life was not only survival, but also harmony. The world felt calmer, brighter, and more connected through beauty. In the evenings, a family might hear music from a neighbor's home. The gentle notes of a flute drifting across the courtyard. The beat of a drum echoing softly, steady and low. Children might sway or clap. Parents smile and listen. It was a reminder that life carried not only duty, but also delight. As you imagine this art and music, you can see the colors on the walls. You can hear the gentle sound of strings, soft and steady. You can picture the gold glimmering in the light of the sun. Each image, each sound, is calm and balanced, like the Nile itself. Together, they bring a sense of quiet harmony. And so, as you rest now, think of Egypt's beauty, the colors that never fade. The statues standing still, the music drifting softly. Let these images surround you, gentle and slow. Let them guide your thoughts into calm and peaceful dreams. Like the Egyptians, you too can find comfort in beauty. Section 11. Egyptian trade, markets, and travel along the Nile. The Nile was not only a river of life, it was also a road. Boats moved up and down its waters every day. They carried goods, people, animals, and stories. The river connected towns, villages, and faraway lands. Trade was part of Egyptian life. Markets filled with the soft sound of voices. Farmers brought baskets of grain, onions, and garlic. Fishermen arrived with their morning catch, glistening in the sun. Craftsmen laid out pottery, jewelry, and woven mats. The air in markets carried many scents: the warm smell of fresh bread, the sharp smell of onions, the sweet scent of dates. Spices added faint touches of distant lands. Each stall was simple, shaded by reed mats or cloths. People walked slowly, stopping to look, to touch, to bargain. Barter was common. A pot might be exchanged for grain. A necklace traded for beer. Families brought what they had and returned with what they needed. Coins were rare in daily life, though they existed in later times. Boats filled the river. Small reed boats drifted near the banks, used for fishing or carrying reeds. Larger wooden boats sailed farther, with square sails catching the wind. Oarsmen rowed in rhythm, their strokes steady and calm. Cargo was stacked neatly: jars of oil, sacks of grain, baskets of fruit. Some boats carried stone from distant quarries. Huge blocks of limestone or granite were floated on rafts. They were needed for temples, tombs, and statues. The slow journey of stone along the Nile was part of Egypt's endless building. Each stone carried the weight of many hands and many dreams. Travelers also used the Nile. Families visited relatives in nearby towns. Priests traveled to festivals in other temples. Officials carried messages sealed with wax. The river kept the kingdom connected, flowing as steady as time itself. Beyond Egypt, trade reached far lands. From the south came gold, ivory, and ebony. From the east came incense, myrrh, and fine woods. From the Mediterranean came wine, olive oil, and copper. Egypt's goods, grain, linen, papyrus, were welcomed everywhere. The desert did not stop trade. Caravans of donkeys and camels crossed the sands. They carried salt, precious stones, and rare goods. The desert was harsh, but travelers moved carefully, guided by stars and landmarks. At each stop, water and shade were treasured gifts. In markets, voices rose softly. A farmer praised his grain. A potter showed his jars. A child laughed as he tasted a fig. Neighbors greeted one another, sharing news of family and weather. The mood was calm, steady, shaped by the rhythm of daily needs. Trade was not rushed, but flowed like the Nile itself. Women often took part in trade. They sold vegetables, cloth, or bread. Some managed small businesses, weaving or brewing beer. Their voices added to the hum of the marketplace. Children followed close, learning the ways of exchange. Music sometimes filled the air. A flute player might sit near a stall, his notes drifting gently. A drummer might add rhythm, drawing smiles from passers-by. Markets were not only for goods, but for life, sound, and connection. Each visit was a part of the great circle of community. Travel by land was slower. Donkeys carried loads of grain or jars of water. Sledges dragged heavy objects over sand, sometimes wetted to ease the way. Roads were simple, marked by footsteps and hooves. Travelers rested in small shelters or under palm trees, thankful for shade. The Nile at night was quiet but still alive. Boats tied to the shore, their sails folded. Fishermen cast nets under the starlight, their lanterns glowing faintly. The water reflected the moon, steady and calm. Travelers slept on the decks, rocked gently by the flow. Trade and travel gave Egypt strength. They brought goods, wealth, and new ideas. They linked farmers to towns, towns to cities, Egypt to distant lands. Every market, every boat, every caravan added to the kingdom's life. It was a web of steady movement, always flowing, always calm. Imagine yourself walking through one of these markets. The sound of voices low and kind, the scent of bread warm in the air, the sight of boats drifting slowly on the wide river, the steady rhythm of trade and travel all around. It is peaceful, calm, and timeless, like the Nile itself. Section 12. Egyptian Temples and the World of the Gods. In ancient Egypt, temples were more than buildings. They were homes for the gods. Each temple was built with care, stone by stone. Priests and workers believed they were shaping a place where heaven and earth could meet. The walls, columns, and courts all carried meaning. Temples were large and impressive, yet quiet inside. Tall gateways, called pylons, rose at the entrance. Carved upon them were scenes of kings offering gifts to gods. Beyond the pylons, great courtyards opened to the sky. People gathered here, leaving offerings of food, flowers, or incense. Columns lined the halls, their tops carved like papyrus or lotus plants. They rose high, holding roofs that shaded the sacred space. In the dim light, colors glowed softly. Red, blue, green, and gold painted the carvings. Every image told stories of gods, kings, and creation. At the heart of the temple was the sanctuary. It was small, dark, and quiet. Here stood the statue of the god, hidden from ordinary eyes. Only priests and the king could enter this room. Every morning, priests washed, dressed, and offered food to the statue, as if it were alive. Priests followed strict rules. They shaved their heads and wore clean white linen. They bathed several times each day. Purity was seen as important when serving the gods. Their daily rituals kept the temples filled with life and order. Incense drifted through the halls. Its soft smoke rose upward, carrying prayers to the sky. The scent was calming, a reminder of the presence of the divine. Oil lamps flickered, their glow touching stone walls. The temple was alive with sound, light, and fragrance. Festivals filled the temples with joy. On special days, statues of gods were carried out in processions. Boats, decorated with gold and flowers, floated along the Nile. People sang, clapped, and prayed as they watched. The gods seemed close, sharing in the life of their people. Each city had its own main god. Thebes honored Amun, Memphis honored Ptah, Heliopolis honored Ra. But temples were built for many deities, both great and small. Each god had a role: protecting, healing, guiding, or bringing fertility. The people's lives were woven into the care of these gods. Temples were also centers of learning. Priests studied medicine, astronomy, and writing within their walls. They observed the stars to mark time and guide rituals. They recorded knowledge on papyrus scrolls, keeping wisdom for generations. The temple was a place of both spirit and science. Ordinary people could not go deep inside. They left their offerings in the outer courts. Bread, beer, flowers, and small statues were placed with care. Sometimes families prayed quietly. Sometimes they asked priests for blessings. The gods were distant, yet also present in daily life. The temple walls were covered with hieroglyphs. Scenes showed kings making offerings, gods giving blessings, and sacred rituals. Every carving was both art and prayer. Even the act of carving was seen as holy. The walls became eternal records of devotion. Some temples were massive, like Karnak, with halls of endless columns. Others were smaller, serving villages or local gods. All shared the same purpose: to honor, protect, and connect with the divine. Even in ruins today, their stones hold a sense of calm and strength. They remind us of a people who lived close to their gods. The Nile itself was linked to temples. Sacred lakes inside temple grounds held water for rituals. Priests used it for cleansing, for blessing, and for symbol. Water, like the temple, was life-giving, pure, and eternal. Together, they shaped the spiritual heart of Egypt. At night, temples grew silent. The lamps were extinguished, the courtyards empty. The gods were thought to rest, as people did. The stars above shone gently over the stone walls. The temple stood, quiet and strong, like a guardian of the land. Imagine walking slowly through one of these temples. The air cool, the light dim, the carvings steady on the walls. The scent of incense drifting softly, the sound of footsteps echoing gently. A sense of calm, of order, of timelessness surrounds you. It is a place of peace, both then and now. Section 13. Egyptian festivals, joy and moments of celebration. Life in ancient Egypt was not only work and ritual. It was also filled with moments of joy. Festivals brought color, sound, and movement to the towns and cities. They marked the cycles of the year, the seasons of the Nile, and the honor of the gods. They gave families time to rest, to celebrate, and to feel the closeness of their community. The most important festivals often honored great gods. In Thebes, the festival of Amun was grand and lasting. His statue was carried from Karnak to Luxor in a golden boat. Priests and singers walked beside it, while people clapped, sang, and prayed. The streets filled with color, music, and the warmth of the crowd. The festival of Opet was one of the most famous. It took place when the Nile was high and fertile. Statues of Amun, Mut, and Khonsu were carried down the river. The sacred boats glided slowly, decorated with flowers and shining cloth. People gathered along the banks, watching, singing, and offering prayers. Another great celebration was the beautiful Feast of the Valley. This was a festival of remembrance and family. The living visited the tombs of their ancestors. They brought food, flowers, and incense. Families ate together near the tombs, speaking softly of loved ones. Music and dance filled many festivals. Flutes, drums, and harps played steady rhythms. Women clapped their hands, dancers moved gracefully, and children laughed. The sound carried across the courtyards and along the riverbanks. It was gentle, joyful, and shared by all. Food was part of every celebration. Large loaves of bread, fresh fish, and roasted meat were enjoyed. Jars of beer and wine were shared among friends and neighbors. Dates, figs, and honey cakes added sweetness to the feast. Even the simplest foods felt special when eaten together in joy. Festivals also marked the seasons of the Nile. When the flood waters came, people celebrated renewal and hope. When the harvest was gathered, they gave thanks for the abundance of grain. Life followed the rhythm of the river, and festivals kept this rhythm alive. Each one was a reminder of the bond between people, land, and gods. Children loved these days most of all. They played games with sticks and clay balls. They raced, they laughed, they chased each other through the crowds. They enjoyed sweet fruits and listened to the music with wide eyes. Festivals were days when childhood felt bright and free. Not every festival was large. Some were small, held in villages or local temples. A small statue might be carried through the streets. Families lit lamps or candles at their doorways. Neighbors shared bread and smiled at one another. Some festivals were quiet and sacred. They honored the dead or the turning of the seasons. People prayed softly, burned incense, and remembered. Even in silence, there was joy in the closeness of family and tradition. Celebration could be gentle as well as grand. The clothing of festival days was brighter. People wore their best linen, fresh and white. Jewelry shone in the sun, beads and amulets glittering. Flowers were woven into hair, adding color and fragrance. The air itself felt fresh, alive with color and light. As the sun set, lamps and torches glowed. Songs continued, soft and steady. People gathered in courtyards, sharing food under the stars. Laughter mixed with the sound of drums. The night was calm but full of warmth. Festivals gave rest from daily labor. They reminded people that life was not only work, but also joy. They brought families together, strengthened friendships, honored gods. Each festival was like a bright thread woven into the fabric of the year. Together, they created a pattern of celebration and peace. Imagine yourself standing at the banks of the Nile on such a day. The water shining, boats drifting slowly, music rising in the air. People smiling, children running, priests carrying sacred statues. The scent of bread and incense drifting together. It is calm joy, simple and steady, carried gently through time. Section 14. Egyptian work, crafts, and the skills of daily labor. Life in ancient Egypt was shaped by work. From sunrise to sunset, people used their hands and tools to build, to create, and to provide. Every task, whether great or small, carried meaning. Work was not only survival, it was also skill, pride, and tradition, passed from one generation to the next. Farmers formed the heart of the land. They rose with the sun, guiding oxen across the fields. They cut grain with sickles, bundled stalks, and carried them to storehouses. When the Nile flooded, they planted seeds in the rich soil. Their rhythm followed the river, steady as the seasons. Craftsmen filled the towns and cities. Stonecutters shaped limestone and granite. Their hammers and chisels rang out with sharp, steady sounds. Woodworkers carved chairs, chests, and small statues. They smoothed the surfaces with care, leaving polished beauty behind. Potters worked with clay gathered from the Nile's banks. They shaped bowls and jars on spinning wheels. Their hands were steady, their movements patient. When fired in the kiln, the clay hardened into lasting vessels. Some carried simple forms, others bore painted designs. Weavers created linen, the fabric of Egypt. They worked with fine threads of flax. On wooden looms, they wove patterns both plain and delicate. Their cloth became clothing, sheets, and temple offerings. Soft and light, linen carried comfort into daily life. Metalworkers shaped copper, bronze, and later iron. They made tools, weapons, and jewelry. Heat from the fire glowed on their faces. The ringing of hammer on metal filled their workshops. Each strike brought strength and purpose to their craft. Scribes worked not with tools of stone, but with ink and reed pens. They copied texts onto papyrus scrolls. Their writing preserved stories, prayers, and records. They trained for years, learning the forms of hieroglyphs. Their work was quiet, but powerful, shaping memory itself. Builders were among the most visible workers. They raised temples, tombs, and houses. Stones were dragged on sledges, lifted with ropes, set in place. It was slow, heavy work, yet it created wonders. Every block became part of something greater than the self. Work was not always harsh. Some days carried the joy of craft and creation. A sculptor smiled as a statue slowly took shape. A weaver paused to admire the pattern in her linen. A child helped a parent, learning with small, eager hands. Market days were filled with movement and sound. Farmers brought baskets of onions, garlic, and beans. Fishermen laid out their catches, still shining from the Nile. Potters sold jars, weavers sold cloth, metal workers showed tools. People bargained, traded, and greeted each other with warmth. Not all work was for trade. Much was done in the household. Women ground grain on stone querns. They baked bread, brewed beer, and tended children. Every small act carried care and purpose. Children learned early. A boy followed his father to the fields, carrying small tools. A girl sat beside her mother, watching her weave. Tasks began simple, then grew harder with age. By learning, they carried the traditions of their family forward. Priests also worked, though their labor was sacred. They cared for temple rituals, offerings, and ceremonies. Each day they washed the statues of gods, lit incense, and spoke prayers. Their work kept the balance between gods and people. It was steady, solemn, and filled with respect. Seasons shaped the kind of work done. During the flood, fields could not be farmed. Men worked on building projects, digging canals, or repairing walls. When the waters fell, farming returned in full strength. The year turned, and with it, the tasks of life. Some workers traveled for their labor. Miners went deep into the desert, seeking copper, gold, and turquoise. Caravans carried stones from distant quarries. Fishermen sailed far on the Nile, casting nets wide. Travel was part of their work, tying distant lands together. Even leisure often carried the rhythm of work. A man carved a small wooden toy for his child. A woman embroidered a tunic with beads. Work and rest blended, each holding care and skill. Life was woven together by hands that never stilled for long. At night, after labor ended, families sat together. They ate bread, shared stories, and listened to quiet music. Children played, elders spoke. The day slowly faded. The stars above shone as steady as the rhythm of life. Tomorrow would bring new tasks, new moments of skill and effort. Work in Egypt was never only survival. It was art, memory, and tradition. It built temples and tombs, homes and harvests. It filled markets with goods, households with comfort, and history with wonder. Through their work, Egyptians left a legacy that still endures. Section 15. Egyptian trade, travel, and connections beyond the Nile. Egypt was a land of the Nile, yet it was never closed within itself. Trade and travel stretched its reach far beyond the riverbanks. Goods, people, and ideas moved along paths of water and sand. Journeys carried connection, linking Egypt to lands near and far. The Nile itself was the greatest road. Its waters carried boats north and south, with the current and against it. Sails filled with the desert wind, moving slowly but surely. Merchants loaded jars of grain, baskets of vegetables, an amphorae of beer. Fishermen carried nets, priests transported offerings, and builders shipped stone. Boats made from papyrus reeds served for short trips. Larger ships of wood carried heavier loads. Decks creaked beneath baskets and jars, and the air carried scents of fish, onions, and resin. Men pulled ropes, steered with oars, and raised sails in silence. The river was calm, yet always alive with motion. Markets in towns near the Nile brimmed with goods from these travels. Villagers gathered to see merchants unpack items wrapped in cloth. Children leaned close, eyes wide, as traders showed shiny beads or fine pottery. The hum of voices mixed with the bleating of goats and the cries of birds overhead. Trade was more than exchange. It was a meeting of lives. Beyond the Nile, caravans stretched across the desert. Donkeys carried bundles of grain, jars of water, and clay lamps. Men walked slowly beside them, shaded by simple cloth. The desert was harsh, but paths were known, and each stop was marked by wells. Step by step, they carried Egypt's goods into other lands. Egypt's neighbors offered treasures in return. From Nubia came gold, ivory, and ebony. From Sinai, turquoise gleamed like the sky. From Lebanon, cedar wood arrived, tall and fragrant, perfect for shipbuilding. From the lands beyond the sea came oils, wine, and spices. The Red Sea opened routes to distant shores. Sailors braved the waves in sturdy ships, traveling south to Punt. There they found incense trees, exotic animals, and rare resins. These journeys were long and uncertain, yet they brought back wonders. Incense burned sweetly in temples, a gift from faraway lands. Travel was not only for merchants. Messengers carried news between towns. Officials inspected fields and canals. Scribes counted harvests and recorded taxes. Each journey carried responsibility, each step tied to the rhythm of the state. Pilgrims also traveled. They walked to temples to give offerings or to seek blessings. Some journeyed to Abydos, sacred to Osiris. There they joined festivals, prayed for safe passage into the afterlife, and felt the closeness of the divine. For them, travel was a spiritual path filled with meaning. Soldiers marched along roads as well. They guarded borders, escorted caravans, and protected river routes. Their presence gave safety to merchants and peace to travelers. Banners waved in the desert wind, steady and proud. Travel often carried both risk and protection, woven together. Even within towns, the movement of goods carried life. Fishermen brought catches from the Nile. Potters delivered jars. Weavers brought rolls of linen. The streets echoed with footsteps, the creak of carts, and the laughter of children. Travel was constant, even in small, familiar ways. Egypt was also a receiver of ideas. Foreign merchants spoke in different tongues, wore unfamiliar clothes, and carried stories from afar. They brought songs, customs, and strange beliefs. Some things stayed foreign, Others blended into Egyptian life. Over time, Egypt was shaped by both its own traditions and the voices of others. Festivals often reflected these connections. Wines from abroad might flow at celebrations. Jewels from distant lands might shine in the sunlight. Even simple households sometimes kept a small item from another country, a bead, a pot, or a token of trade. These objects tied families to a world larger than their own. Trade and travel also gave stories to tell at night. A father might describe the desert caravan to his children. A sailor might recall storms on the Red Sea. Even those who never left their village could imagine distant lands through these tales. The unknown became part of dreams, just as real as the stars above. Egypt's greatness was not only in temples or pyramids. It was also in the ways it reached outward. The Nile carried goods, the desert paths stretched wide, and the seas opened to faraway shores. Connections grew, and through them, Egypt thrived. Trade and travel gave Egypt not just wealth, but stories, scents, and memories that still linger. Our journey through ancient Egypt now comes to a close. We have walked along the Nile, entered homes and markets, stepped into temples, and wandered through palaces. We have seen the farmers in their fields, the craftsmen at their tools, and the priests at their sacred rituals. Each moment has shown us how life in Egypt was steady, rich, and full of quiet beauty. Egypt was more than pyramids and kings. It was families sharing bread, children learning trades, and merchants traveling rivers and deserts. It was laughter in homes, music in the air, and prayers whispered to the gods. It was work, leisure, and rest, woven into the rhythm of the seasons. Even now, thousands of years later, the legacy remains. Stone monuments still rise above the sands. Painted walls still tell stories of harvests, festivals, and dreams. Hieroglyphs carved with care still carry voices across time. Egypt's past still speaks, calm and eternal, like the river itself. As the night deepens, imagine the stars shining above the Nile. The air is still, the water reflects the sky, and the world is quiet. Sleep comes gently, carrying the echoes of Egypt's ancient life. May the peace of that timeless land stay with you through the night.